What up, Bone Ponies? Welcome back to the Tabletop Totality podcast. I know it's been a minute. We've been on some adventures,
Yep.
and we're back now. Okay, so don't despair. I'm Cody. I'm here with my friends
Neil
And Steve.
Today we're going to be talking about coming back from a long break during
Mhm.
your role playing game. How do you manage that? How do you prevent a campaign from basically falling apart from not being able to play as frequently as you'd like to? But before we get into that, I'd like to cover a couple things. First and foremost, we have brought home gold
At
for
last.
the second year in a row. Not Olympic gold.
It's
We're
almost
not on
like
that
an
level
Olympic
yet.
gold. No, I'm just kidding. They're great
Yeah.
people.
We're not at that level yet.
Yeah, give it time.
But we brought home the gold medal again for Extra Life for our donations. We raised over $1,000 for the Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals, which is just a fantastic organization.
Mhm.
Every minute of every day, 62 kids walk into those hospitals looking for help. And the money that we raise through Extra Life goes directly to that to help these kids. So it's a fantastic cause, and we're going to continue doing our live streams to raise money for that cause on a monthly basis. So we're going to get back into that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you to everybody who supported us in that, and we hope that you'll continue to support Extra Life and the Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals. The second thing I'd like to talk about is we ran a Kickstarter campaign. We talked about it in an update. It didn't make its goal, but we are still busy at work to make sure that Adventures in Thistledown happens, as well as a Dracuva world-setting book / game system. We're working on it.
Yep.
And from what we already have so far, it's pretty cool.
It's coming along. It's going along slowly but surely.
Right.
Very excited. We're taking our time to make sure that this is going to be something special.
Yeah, we're making our way downtown.
This is true. So
I mean,
let's get into it, okay? So campaigns, role-playing campaigns, the longer they go on, obviously the more intensive they become.
Mm-hmm.
There's more notes, there's more things to remember.
Well, there should be. There should be.
Or there
more
should
notes,
be.
more
Right.
things,
The longer
yeah.
you play, the bigger the world, the bigger the story should become.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think. How do you stop if the outside world, outside of our fantasy bubble,
Mm.
if it takes you away from your game through work, through whatever, how do you ensure that the game continues on even when you can't play right away? Some people, I feel, lose interest if they're not playing frequently. And
Mhm.
what's frequency? In my campaign that I'm running right now for Toleraxia, which has been, I think we're in our third year of playing this game, which is certainly the longest game I've ever been a part of. Certainly the longest one I've ever ran. We try to play at least once a month.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that is I think is at least a surefire way to keep everybody involved, keep everybody the knowledge of what's going on, to keep that fresh in everybody's head.
Yeah.
Mhm.
For some people, they try to play weekly. I
Mhm.
wish I could play weekly.
Yeah, some people would almost say that, playing once a month is like, taking a break after each session. Yeah,
Yeah.
what I mean? It's
Right.
for some people that might be too long.
Right. And I believe firmly that once a month is pretty much a surefire way to ensure that it doesn't just die.
Yeah.
I think that if you go for 2, 3, 4 months without playing, the coming back to that game is going to be difficult. People are going to have forgotten things. It also kind of kills the moment, I feel like, too, because if you had ended your session on a cliffhanger, or if you had gotten to a point in your game where something major was about to happen, like a boss battle or anything, and then you put 4 months of no activity in between, those sessions, the feeling is not the same.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
So how do you go about keeping it alive other than trying to play frequently? Because if you can't, if you know, we know shit happens, life happens. How do you do it? Personally, I took a lesson out of Matt Colville's page, out of his book, and we tried to, when we've had to take big breaks, we've tried to also take breaks in game so that maybe the events that are happening in the world are not as dire for when you can't play as often. So
Good.
not to be confused with managing a long running game. That's not what I'm trying to say, because I mentioned that the game is run for a long time. What I'm trying to talk about is taking that break and how to ensure that you keep your players involved and you come back to the table with everybody ready to go or still interested and excited to be there.
Yeah.
And I think one of the good ways of doing that is actually through emails, through text, even just through conversations. As the DM or the overlord or the game master keeper, you can call people or you can contact people in your game and you can roleplay without having to actually be at the table. You don't have to do a million dice rolls. You don't have to have combat, but you can create maybe a storyline or keep something going to keep people involved.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that?
No,
Yeah,
I
I
think.
think that's
Oh,
a
sorry.
good
Go ahead,
point.
Steve. My bad.
Yeah,
cut you off.
I think that's a good point. Like, I mean, it's you're keeping your players engaged and you're keeping them abreast of what's going on in the world and giving them some say in what is happening in between, your sessions. That's a way to, keep the flame going on that. It's a good method of accomplishing the goal of keeping that game going when nobody's available, and then when you come back to it, people will have done things or will at least have it fresh in their mind of what they what was going on, more so than if there had been no communication. So I think that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, I think that's a good approach to go out from a long break, right? Because it keeps everything you're working on keeping people's memories active on, hey, oh my gosh, I just had this happen at the table. Well, that just now is 2 weeks away, and you still have 2 weeks to go before you're actually sitting at the table. So I think the big thing about a break is you got to keep some level of thinking about it. You got to keep that information fresh, like we're saying, where even if you come back to a table after a week, if you weren't thinking about what happened last week and you're looking through your notes, it's going to be groggy. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people even experience that to a regular, even for like shorter campaigns, maybe something that's not such longevity.
Yeah.
So I think in that sense, you kind of gotta, you gotta look at it more than just at your table when you're playing. You gotta look at your notes, be like, oh yeah, that's right, this happened. That's a thing. Like, man, I keep a binder of notes, and for some people that wouldn't work. Like, I have a freaking lore binder, and
Yeah.
I do it for pretty much any campaign. I get a legal pad. Big fan of legal pads.
Yeah.
Legal pad sponsor me. Just send me free legal pads. That's about it.
Yeah.
But no, but I use a legal pad that's for each campaign. No matter how long it is, I do it for one shots, no matter what. And man, I take better notes in that than I did throughout high school and college, I swear. And it all it does is it just allows me to keep thinking. So if I'm on a break, I can pull out that legal pad and be like, oh yeah, that was the last thing that happened. Type of thing. So I think that was, for me, is the easiest way to go about it.
And I mean, like,
Yeah.
that's kind of a good approach that you as a group can take, is have one of the players, like, either naturally or, if they're willing
Electively,
to.
yeah.
No, I wouldn't say electively, but I would say if they're willing to have somebody else there to take notes, because not everybody's going to be good at taking notes. Not everybody's going to want to take notes. But if somebody is willing to do it and is like passionate about it and wants to keep track of everything, have them do that, so that if a break does come up, then you have somebody there that can, jog everybody's memory in case the Overlord forgets something, because the Overlord's going to forget things in that time, and then someone comes back and goes, wait, that character didn't say that, or that didn't happen yet, or like what, or that person's been dead for 3 sessions. Why are they back now? And then the Overlord can go, oh, whoops, I forgot, and you have notes that I forgot about. So
not even
here
that.
You go.
As the Overlord, you're thinking of, you're playing high level chess out here.
Yeah.
You're planning out 3 moves for 3 different moves that the party can do, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of the time, you as the Overlord, you're focused on the future, not so much the present or the past.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easy. Like, I find it a lot of times, my Overlord notes, if I'm overlording a party, those notes are vastly different than what I'm taking as a player. And I ask my players, hey, recap me on what happened. Not because I might not know, but because I may give out too much information in my recap that the players actually haven't gotten yet, naturally.
I feel sometimes too, even as like the Overlord, I feel that there's times during a session where you need to correct how something is remembered, and it's not being meta, and it's not breaking the immersion to be like, this is not true. Everybody is misremembering something, or like that's important as well.
Yeah.
If you to make sure that what your players think is going on is really what's going on.
Yeah.
And that can be affected by having, longer breaks.
Yeah.
Oh, big time.
Misremembering, and then reminding people that they're misremembering isn't meta. That's just, this is what happened in the story. Here's what it's like you saying this happened in the story, and then going, no, this happened. That's like, and the other person is right. That's not meta knowledge. That's correction of events that it had. Like if you kill the dragon in the last session, and then you take a month off, and then the next session starts with, oh, the dragon says, like, I'm going to have my revenge, and flies away, and somebody goes, no, we killed the dragon last session. That's not meta knowledge. That's something that happened that's being misremembered.
Well, it's the difference of how much time your player has in this world, and how much your character has in this world. Your character, in the sense of, minus maybe doing some like RPing outside, like Cody was saying, and saying, well, we're taking a month time out of game, we have to take a month break, so I'm giving our characters maybe 2 weeks time frame to do things just RP wise. Well, most of those times, even if you're going week to week, it's hours. You're actually your character is doing something within the world, so they're gonna remember if like 2 hours passes or 8 hours they took a long rest. They're still gonna remember, I just fought a dragon, that's why I'm licking my wounds because of a dragon. That's in there. That's in your character's memory easier than it is in your player memory.
And coming back after a month and saying, why do I only have 3 hit points out of 400? And it's like, because you just fought a dragon.
Exactly.
You didn't heal the full. Like,
there's certain things that you're not correcting it so your character has an advantage. No, you're correcting it so your player is in the right mindset as the character would be. And I think that's a big point of coming back from a break. No matter whatever you consider a break to be, you kind of reminisce with everybody at the table. Because no matter how good you're, get yourself a lore master at the table is kind of what Steve was saying before.
Yeah.
No matter how good your lore master is, they're going to record things differently than another party member, and that's just how it's going to be. So even if your other party members don't record like barely anything, they may have recorded that one line that was like, we're misremembering something here. This person, we don't like them. It's not that we have a good rapport with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's probably your biggest thing coming back from a break, no matter how big or how small. Set aside a set amount of time at your table to reminisce. Maybe all your players are, all your characters are having flashbacks to what happened. If that's how you want to, put it into the world, this is how they're remembering this. Do it that way if you had to.
And even, another thing too, it's away from the table. Sometimes I'll do it where I'll text one of the guys that I play with, one of the people in the group, and I'll say, what's your paladin thinking about doing? What do they think about what happened the last session? Like what's in what's in the character's mindset, and that's a good conversation to have, I think, even away from the table too, because it allows you, for the overlord, to take their input and use it yourself for the world. But also it's a way of just keeping them thinking about, hey, we're not going to play for the next month, but hey, what's your guy going to do? What's your wizard up to?
Yeah, it provides that engagement that keeps the person's head in the game.
Yeah,
over the course of a long break. I
would say, as the overlord, it's a good thing to do that. You're creeping back into, maybe, if you took a month break off, so it's a week before you guys are about to play.
Yeah.
Send that text message to all your players. Get them thinking about it again. It's a sad thing as the overlord. You're the one who's in charge of directing the story, but it is those characters who are playing the part, but sometimes you need to add that direction. You need to stimulate the lore knowledge, to be like, hey, remember when this happened, that session almost a month ago? Man, I can't wait to have you guys see what happens again at the table. And do it in a group chat. Do a group email chain. Let everybody kind of talk to each other to reminisce about it. It doesn't, just because I said, maybe do it the first session back, it doesn't have to be that. It can happen, somewhat close to when that session back happens. That break in service session comes back, it's
you could have it, it could be kind of informal. It could just kind of be like another session 0, but it's just a discussion between the overlord and the players to be like, hey, let's make sure we're all on the same page, because at the end of the day, it's all collaborative. The storytelling, the gaming, it's all collaborative, and there's a certain amount of give and take that comes with it to make it work, and so that's a good way to get everybody back on the same page, make sure everybody remembers what they're doing, because especially it could be really hard if you had to end the session in the middle of combat and then you come back after two months or something, and like you said, Steve, oh, well, my guy, my fighter is down 50% of his health. I don't remember that, or I'm just about to take my turn, and then you come back for 2 months and the overlord's like, oh, well, the monster
roll initiative.
Right. It's a good way to keep all that in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely multiple ways to skin a cat. We're not going to say maybe the perfect way for your group, but hopefully we help you get to that level for your group, spark that conversation, make it seem,
Spark it up, Bone Ponies.
That's it, man. But it's a tough fish to fillet, you know what I mean? It's a little bony. You got to really work around it. But at the end of the day, you're going to make some great fillets.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt about it. I'm trying to even think, Steve, do you have even another idea? Do you got something brewing over there?
I don't really know. I haven't really been in a lot of campaigns that have taken like like huge hiatuses that I'm not used to them taking huge hiatuses. So like Toleraxia, I'm used to the once a month thing, and that's like the big game that I've been.
But again, how do you go about when we even though we're used to that 1 month, it doesn't feel like a break to us. It still is something substantial.
I don't think. Yeah,
you know what
I don't think. I don't think that my answer is going to be very helpful because I just rely on you and Chris and everybody else who
you rely on the lore masters.
Yeah, exactly. I rely on people who have been taking notes since the beginning, who have books and books of notes.
So disappointed.
Well, what do you want from me?
No, but like that's a thing though. But it's you rely on our first. Yeah. We do a big debrief pretty much.
Absolutely, and I also like kind of rely on my own memory of like what happened before, and like I can kind of like piece together what was going on and things like that. So it's like my advice for this wouldn't really be very helpful, but it's just like basically like have people like trust in other, like my advice is trust in the knowledge that other people bring to the table. Yeah, trust your party to know what's going on. Trust your overlord to know what's going on, because if you forget something, they'll turn to you and tell you, hey, you're wrong about that. That didn't happen.
You hope they do.
Yeah. I mean, for the most part.
If they don't, then well, now that's
then you remembered it right. Then if they don't tell you you're wrong, you remembered it right.
Yeah,
I think another thing too. I think another thing too that would be helpful is that when we play, even though we only play once a month, we play for like 6, 7, 8 hours.
Oh, we do big sessions.
Yeah. So a lot of our sessions are actually similar to what people make play in, once a week sessions. They might only play for a couple hours. Yeah. We're playing for, a solid 6, 7, 8 hours.
Yeah, at minimum we're playing at minimum 7 hours. Like, I feel like it's rare do we do like a 5 or 6 hour session.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's usually if we're even busy to squeeze in that session. So
right, yeah,
that's a good point.
I mean, like, yeah, and one thing that I would say is like we've been talking a lot about communicating between the party and the overlord to like about like what's going on in the session. If you're going on a break, if you're going on a long break, everybody should agree to that kind of communication. Like, if you're a member of a game and you're taking your DM's taking a long break, don't pester your overlord if they don't want to be asked about your stuff, because people have lives, people are on breaks. People are on breaks because they have other stuff for a reason. Yeah, other stuff's going on. So if you're a person who, like Neil said, like sometimes 2 weeks is a long time to wait between sessions. If you're not, if your group isn't in agreement with this kind of communication, don't be like sending your overlord emails every 2 days being like, hey, what's going on? Hey, can we one-on-one? Can we do this? Can we do that? Because sometimes they might be like, dude, I
think it's all going to be situational,
Oh, absolutely.
On what's going on, if someone's like, hey, I can't be here because, an emergency or something came up. Like, don't, leave that person alone.
Yeah, leave them alone. If other stuff's going on outside of the game, and just keep that in mind. But if communication is meant to be open to people, then
I think
just don't be annoyed.
It up, baby.
Yeah, I almost think one of the greatest things, the reason why for us it doesn't fall out, waiting months to play, or even if we go over breaks, is actually all our group chats, because half the time like somebody will see like some like D&D meme or something along those lines, and they'll send it and be like, yeah, this was Oris last session punching this person into just muck, like you know what I mean, like it's stupid funny stuff that you normally don't even put a thought to it, but right there all of the party members get reminded, the overlord, everybody gets reminded, oh yeah, that happened. That's what happened last session. Or that's right, that happened like only a few sessions ago. And it's like a simple like 5-second thing. Nobody's trying to remember something from the session or talk about the session besides the point to make a joke or to remember some hilarity in there. you know, and I think that's a great thing. That's something easy. You can just easily send it and be like, can't wait to play type of thing. And it keeps everybody, it keeps that engagement, right? That's all you're trying to do is keep everybody engaged.
Or we've even had it before where somebody's like, oh, you know, this could happen next session, you know, TPK's coming, you know, like just to get everybody thinking about it.
Well, I think that's definitely our thing. We joke around all the time. We'll be like, yep, this is about to happen. TPK, everybody. Gotta be there for next session.
That's it. Torex is over.
Yeah. So
starting it fresh with your character.
Yeah. You know, make sure you come with your brand new
4.0
character.
No Muppet Borns though.
No Muppet Born gunslingers. Physically impossible.
Nope.
Their strings actually need
that's
to be...
That's for
guns?
our game. That's for Jakuva's
No.
No,
I'm
he's not.
strictly about
Throw it in the
this.
trash.
Muppet? No, I'm not that way. let me. Cody is 100% anti Muppet Born. I could be convinced if a player has to control the gun, right? So the Muppet is its own thing, but that gun is also a Muppet. Like, you see what I'm saying? That is its own thing as well. That needs to be controlled by somebody else. So hear me out. I want this Muppet Born campaign.
Neil, I get where you're coming from. We're going way off.
Yeah, but no, I have to say this. A Muppet Born campaign where, yes, each player plays a Muppet Born character, but they also play another character's weapon. I'm just saying.
Chaos. Just chaos is what that will be.
It could be amazing.
I mean, it'll be fun, but it'll be chaos.
Oh man, I'm getting so many ideas now.
Ugh.
Well, anyway, Bone Ponies. I think this is good for us coming back, getting in the saddle again.
Absolutely.
And you know, we're going to be trying to be more frequent with our podcasts.
Oh yeah.
And as I said before, we're going to go back to doing our monthly streams for Extra Life. So there'll be a steady flow of content on our YouTube.
And
Absolutely.
if there's a game that you want to see us play, maybe you saw it out there and you're like, hey, this would be pretty interesting, but you don't have a group of people to play it with, so you were trying to convince people, send it our way. We'll look at it. If it's something that piques our interest, you know, we'll give it a shot. We'll see what's going on. And we'll give you our honest opinion, because usually after we play a game, we review it. So definitely make sure to check out those if you're looking at other games to possibly play with your group.
Absolutely.
You can see the Bone Pony scale of things. I guess the last question here, though. What had to be your favorite point that somebody brought up today? I will allow it to be one of your own points if you're, you know, if
everything that I said was fantastic, obviously.
Of course, Steven.
I'm the fan favorite. What do you want?
Yeah, the fan favorite who relies on other people.
I mean, go with what works, man. Go with what works.
I would have to say that would be the disappointment of the evening. Would be that statement. I think I think Neil had a good idea about making keeping your own lore, but then also running it by other people that are taking notes. Just that whole sort of back and forth, not just solely relying on other people for lore like Steven, but also contributing your own lore.
Yeah, that's a good point. Steven, do you have a point, a rebuttal, a better point that was brought up today?
I mean, I'm not going to rebut it. I'll stand by what I said. I'll die on that hill. But
well, I'm saying rebuttal.
I just think the whole.
You know?
I just agree with the whole aspect of like communicating with your party, communicating with your group is, that whole conversation is like really important. It really helps keep people remembering, helps keeping people engaged, like I keep saying.
Yeah, and in today's world, there's so many ways you can have your own server on Discord. You can have a text chain. You could be in a group chat on Instagram or Facebook or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ways that you can keep the game alive outside of being at the table.
My favorite point was is actually, this is going to be pretty funny because in a way it's my own idea, but Steve said it, is, have a lore master at the table. It helps
so
everybody.
you're taking somebody else's idea and
No. I'm taking my own idea that I planted in your head, so you would say it, so then I could take the idea.
So the idea that you planted in my head, so that not only could you take it, but so that also you could make Cody disappointed in me because I brought it.
No. I'm not saying rely on one lore master.
First of all, I'm always disappointed in you.
I'm not saying rely on one lore master for everything. I'm just saying it's a good idea to really record a lot of lore. Like I love it. I'm a big fan of lore and how worlds are built. World building is amazing to me. So it just comes naturally to me. But having that there not only helps the overlord, it helps the party. It helps everybody
absolutely.
along. Because there's multiple times that, like, mine and Cody's conversations about Toleraxia is usually just like, hey, you got that piece of lore that you stole? I didn't steal it. He gave it to me. And I go, yeah, if you were a good overlord, you'd remember this. And it's us trading shots back and forth at each other. But it's there, If we need to reference the calendar, I pull up my binder. I have a written calendar.
Yeah.
Who does that in games? I'm not sure. If you do, please comment below. I don't want to feel alone. But I think it's
and to be fair, okay, I guess this is my rebuttal.
Oh, it is.
Towards Cody's attack. The reason why I'm so reliant on Neil and the other players for their lore
doing it by yourself
is because I came into the game late, and
you did.
At the point of the game where I had come in, Neil had a collective bulging binder full of information. And anytime that I had a question about the world or things that were going on, Neil would be able to provide answers, or Chris would be able to provide somebody else would be able to tell me what was going on. So it was like
basically anybody but me could tell you what was going on,
or you. Well, keep your secrets, but it's because I when I came into the game, I played as a character that didn't know anything about the world either. So it's like I don't have notes because I don't know anything about the world out of character or in character. So I don't. And now the character that I'm currently playing, because that character unfortunately passed away. So the new character that I have is he knows things about the world based on what I've picked up over the course of playing that first character.
The previous character, yeah.
So he he doesn't know everything that's going on, but he knows, generally what's happening in the world and things like that. But that's because of knowledge that I picked up over playing with everybody else and learning from the lore that was presented to me by the DM and the other players throughout the game that I was playing. If I had started the game from the beginning, I would have been taking notes.
You'd probably have more notes. Yeah, it's definitely a different game when you come in halfway through something that's already,
Yeah, I'm not going to start. I'm not going to join into a class halfway through school and then just start taking notes and then all of a sudden be like, wait, this is referencing something that we learned in the first semester, and then having to rewrite the notes to go back and then it'd be a mess.
That's where we differ, Steve.
I mean.
I'm gonna write down lore regardless.
Yeah, but I mean, if you had joined in, and then if you had joined in at the halfway point, and then nobody mentioned, for example, going back to our campaign, nobody mentioned Garm for 4 sessions, and then suddenly you write down Garm, you're going to be like, who the hell is this guy? What did he have anything to do with anything? And then you're slowly going to be adding notes throughout the campaign as you're learning about who Garm is and what he was doing.
Yeah,
and it's it's going to be a mess. It'd be a jumbled mess of, instead of having one page of Garm, this is who Garm is.
I think that's also a good topic probably for another episode where we could talk about actually how you should take notes, because I've done that too, where I take notes that are specific to my character.
Yep.
I don't write down everything that happens to everybody else, because if my character doesn't know that it's happened, why should I have notes on it?
There's
Right.
a reason why my binder
Like
is as
I've
big
done
as
that.
it is.
I've limited myself before. Yeah.
Yeah, but we should hold off on that for another
No.
episode.
We could just talk forever, Bone Ponies. You know
Yeah.
us.
The reason why my binder is so big is because I write 2 sets of lore. I write my character known and then that. But anyway. Yeah, I just want to say, thanks to everybody for what Cody said before. You know, we weren't able to just get that money ourselves. It was because of the collected branch chipping in their Bone Pony money.
Yeah.
That we were able to get that gold medal second time. So
yeah,
every Bone Pony penny counts.
That's it, man.
Yes, absolutely. We always appreciate your support, whether it's for Extra Life or the people that donated to Kickstarter, the people that are part of our Patreon, or even the people that just watch this video and like it and subscribe to us and tune into our shenanigans. We appreciate every single one of you.
Or the people who buy some great merch.
Yeah, people who buy the merch, people who buy the books off of TTRPG, all that stuff.
We will have all of our things in the corral below.
Absolutely.
Be there, right past Steve's face.
That's it. Right down that way.
Thank you guys for everything you do, for keeping Tabletop Totality going. And we'll see you next time.
That's it.
Absolutely.
Ranch.
Keep adventuring.
And get ranched.
This guy.